everyone, Dame Chair from the StarCraft 2 Garden site, bringing you a video about the different unit combinations and formations most commonly used by Protoss in StarCraft 2. So, starting at the most basic combination, we've got the good old-fashioned Stalker and Zealot combo. Usually what you'll be seeing, or rather deploying at the beginning of the game, basically puts you keep the Zealot at the front. He's the melee unit to basically either forces the enemy to run away or inflicts extra damage upon them. He also has pretty good meat shield. He's got a pretty decent amount of health and shields for his cost. And yeah, behind him you would have the Stalkers following, usually to provide the real damage, while the Zealot actually chases the enemy around. More advanced form of this, of course, would be the Stalker Zealot Immortal combo, which is pretty similar. You keep the Zealots at the front, followed by Stalkers and the Immortal. The Immortal is used for taking down the heavier units that the Stalkers might have a bit of trouble with, basically. So following on from that, got a slightly different variant, because later on in the game, once you get the anti tech, you get access to things like sentries and of course mortals and all that too. But Sentry is pretty useful when being used with Zealots especially and Stalkers, because it can, well, first of all it's got the force field ability, which how much does it got? There we go, force field, 50 energy, basically lays down force fields that not too many units can actually go across, or rather cannot penetrate. Allows your Zealots to close in on them and hack them to pieces. Also, having Stalkers for a range support is pretty good too, and also the Sentry is pretty useful, this sort of army, for its Guardian Shield ability, which reduces the range damage taken. So of course, keep in mind all these instances, you'll also be using various support units, such as observers and such, for detecting cloaked units. So continuing on from there, this one's bit more of a cheesy build that you might see at the beginning of the game, the Stalker / Void Ray combo. Void Rays can be used against or should I say, they can be used against air and ground targets, while Stalkers can be used against both as well, especially once they have Blink. Like these two guys can form a pretty mobile force, with the Void Rays being able to, or rather being used to take down the heavier targets that the Stalkers might have a bit of trouble with. And following on from that, of course, we've got relatively early combination of Phoenixes and Void Rays. Phoenixes being used to our pretty light harassment, while the Void Rays tried to take down the heavier stuff. And of course, structures that the Phoenixes cannot pick up with their little graviton beams. Graviton, such a fancy word. And of course, late into the game, you'll be seeing, or rather deploying this sort of combination. So basically, you want the Zealots in front, followed by the Sentries and the Stalkers, and depending on how you'd want to proceed, you'll either be having, or they'll be using Colossi or High Templar for fire support. They both can do ranged area of effect damage. High Templar by casting is Sonic Storm, of course, which of course needs to be researched. They can form into Archons later on, I suppose, but anyway. Of course, he's also got the feedback abilities, but the problem is he's a bit more fragile compared to the Colossus. Colossus does a pretty decent constant damage, I suppose you could say, also having to recharge his energy after deploying a Sonic Storm, but the problem is Colossus is pretty bulky, it's easy to target, and it can be targeted by both anti-air and anti-ground units, so definitely want to keep that behind all your other units. So there you go. Couple of basic combinations and formations of units there, and of course a few fancier ones, but it's basically what you'll be seeing most of the time. And keep in mind, you'll most likely be seeing a couple of observers with this sort of army especially, and maybe a couple of other things such as Dark Templar to help support as well, because especially when you have Zealots tearing into your enemy, it's a bit hard to notice Dark Templar doing additional damage. They can really shine, at least until your opponent gets detectors out. So until next time, this has been Dame Vidvich, signing off.